Carolina Forest Commission. So I think Georgetown's the only county that's outside of my region and my supervision. So that I can direct the Georgetown people to the right folks if they have any questions about it. Today I brought Vaughn Spearman. He's our forest stewardship forester. And I brought Kip Terry. He's our timber investigator, and he's also the project forester from Colleton County. My name's Calvin Bailey. I'm the regional forester for all the counties we talked about. I have 13 counties that I'm responsible for the forestry and fire management part. Basically, we deal with the landowners and we deal with the wildfires. That's what our jobs are for those 13 counties in the lower southwest portion of South Carolina. We go from Aiken, we grab Orangeburg, come down, grab Berkeley to the ocean and everything back towards Savannah. That's ours. I brought a lot of stuff. It's on that table back there in the corner. I would be very happy if I didn't have to take anything back to my office. So I hope I brought enough. Sam told me about 50 folks are coming, and I think we might surpass that. But I want to mention a few things before Vaughn and Kip come up to talk. We don't have 45 minutes, and we could probably double that and still not have enough time to tell you everything we want y'all to know about what we can help y'all do. The economic impact of forestry in our state is #1 among the manufacturing industry. It provides 90,000 jobs and a payroll of over $2.4 billion. The economic impact of this state of forestry is $17 billion. And it's continuing to grow. We export about $1 billion in forest products each year from the state of South Carolina. And timber is the #1 state agricultural commodity at $870 billion annually. So trees are the #1 cash crop in South Carolina. The forestry land in South Carolina is over 12.9 million acres. Most of it's private owned, and most of it, about 54% of it's in hardwood, and the rest is in pine. That's when you inventory the state, and that's how our forests are set up in South Carolina. The average family forest is about 65 acres. That's what the average private landowner forest is. Most of 88% are privately owned in South Carolina. Folks like us right here own the forests of South Carolina. 88% of us are privately owned. What I want to talk now about is the programs. Basically, I'm going to give you a quick overview of what we offer, how we connect to Farm Services Agency, and how we connect to NRCS. The Forestry Commission employs firefighters, wildland firefighters, and foresters. And our foresters on a daily basis go out and work with private landowners across their state. We have 2 foresters that are assigned counties that we deal with here, Hampton, Beaufort, and Jasper. They work out of Barnville, South Carolina. That person works out of Barnville. And in Berkeley, Dorchester, and Charleston, they either work out of Bono or Charleston. We give them the choice where they want to work, which office they want to work at. Guess what? We're both trying to fill those 2 vacancies right now. One young lady used to work for us. She flew airplanes for the Air Force, and she decided she wanted to fly airplanes. That's her love. So she's resigned, and she's flying airplanes now full-time for the Air Force. And another young lady, she was working over for us in Hampton, and she decided she wanted to live in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And she took the job up there for those counties up there, Dordt, Cherokee, and which one? Dordt, Cherokee, and Fairfield, I think. So she's moving on, but we're in the process of trying to fill those positions, but we still have a few foresters left that can help service those requests. Now, how we service those requests, people come to us in several different ways. They may come to us for rural forestry assistance. We write a management plan, which includes recommendations and a map. We may get a request from a landowner that comes from Fred because you're part of a conservation plan, and we do a tree planting recommendation for that part of the conservation plan. Now, Fred will talk about the NRCS part. If you come to us directly after you have sold your timber and you want to reforest, we have a program called the Forest Renewal Program, which is state supported. It's $1 million program. State puts in $200,000, industry puts in $800,000. And we use cost share money, and it pays approximately 40 to 50% of the cost share rate to put the trees back in the ground through a forest management plan written by the South Carolina Forest Commission. We offer, in our services program, I'll briefly mention this, we offer fire break plowing, we offer prescribed burning, and we offer standby for prescribed burning also. But now standby is a little more complicated process. Our burn rate is $21 an acre for turnkey. That's coming out. We put the lines around it. We do the prescribed burn plan, and we burn your property based upon the given day we can burn on, based upon the smoke management guidelines. But burning is a little more complicated than just going out there and striking the match. I didn't want to lessen it by telling y'all that it's I don't want to get your hopes up, because we burn a lot down in my region. We burned about 12,000 acres last year. That's pretty good for a small crew I got. And we don't back up from burning, but we're not going to burn something that we don't feel like it's safe. And we have to go through the smoke management guidelines, which are, we have a memorandum of understanding on air quality with DHEC, and that's how we run this program, is through that. And I brought information about outdoor burning back there. I brought the magnets that have the burn number for all the counties that are represented here. And KIP may mention forest fire laws briefly, but there's information back there about what to do when you want to do an outdoor burn too. And I'm talking about like a yard debris burn where you have your clippings and you put them together to do some burning. I'm going to be here all day. This was very quick. We could talk a long time about all this stuff, but I'm going to bring Kip Terry up here first. Or Vaughn, you want to go first? Kip? Vaughn, you want to go? Okay, he's got it up there. This is Vaughn Spearman. He's our stewardship forester. And we'll be here all day, so if you have any questions, we'll be around to answer those questions for you, and we'll try to help you in any way we can. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Kevin's starting off. I made a promise I can't.
Which promise did I make?
I can't stay.
Oh, you can't stay?
No. But y'all can get a hold of me. You can call the office, or they can give you my cell phone number. Hey, that's fine. But I want to tell you a little bit about the stewardship program. I'm the regional stewardship forester. The stewardship program is for any landowner who owns at least 10 acres of land, at least 5 of which is forested, and who has 2 management objectives. And we help you define those management objectives. We'll talk to you and find out what it is that you want to get out of your land, what your economic requirements are for your land, and what you want the land to be in the future. And from those objectives, when we go out on your site and we walk around, we define all the stand types and make a map, and then each stand gets a description, and we give specific recommendations for each stand. The plan's good for 10 years. The stewardship program is a free program. It's administered by the states for the federal government. So your plan doesn't cost you anything, and you can call anytime for advice on your forest management. Your forest management plan benefits you in that it qualifies you for tax exempt status, or not tax exempt, but agricultural exemption on your taxes for that land. It may qualify you for a tree farm if you're interested in something like that, or for other programs like through the NRCS and their cost share programs and our cost share programs. And it gives you a 10-year guided set of instructions for your land. It's like your owner's manual for the next 10 years. So that you know what needs to be done and approximately when. And when you don't get it done, you can push it back a little bit because it's forestry. It takes 30 years to get to that final end of that rotation. 1 to 2 years isn't too big a deal. But you have those things to kind of follow along and keep up with. And we look at a lot of different things when we're looking at forestry. We started talking about longleaf, and we're talking about diversifying income, that's one of the areas that I'm really interested in forestry and wildlife. From that, I have a dual degree in wildlife and forestry, so those areas are I'm pretty good with. We started off mentioning longleaf pine. Longleaf pine is a great example of a good tree for diversified income. A longleaf pine used to cover 90 million acres from Virginia to Florida to Texas. Basically, all the uplands in the state were longleaf pine forest. These open grassland savannas with the trees over top, lots of wildlife, very diverse understory. And so those are some of the things we're trying to encourage. But while you're growing those trees, you might also be raking that area for straw. These are things you can do without even being on your land. You don't have to be there to grow trees. You don't have to be there to have somebody have a lease on your land to rake that pine straw. And they'll often maintain the site for that purpose. You don't have to be on your property to have a hunting lease on your property and get income from that every year. All right? So there's some options there for increasing that annual income, or that, in case of forestry, maybe every 10 or 15 years income. And then also, on my personal land, I'm an organic farmer and interested in producing as much different kinds of food as I can, and other things, other resources coming off the property. And so those are other ways that if you are on the site, you can further diversify your income. You can feed yourself on an acre of land. You can feed a lot of other people with 5 acres and make a living doing it. So a very limited amount of land is enough to make a living on. You don't have to have a corporate job or go to work at a desk every day. You can work on your land if that's what you choose to do with it. And those folks over at the NRCS will be there to help you out with a lot of that. I just gotta get you started, give you some ideas. But anybody have any questions about that? Just gonna keep it short and sweet. So I'll talk about objectives for just a minute. What we look at from an objective standpoint usually is things like timber production, forest health, wildlife management, aesthetics, how your property looks, the appearance of it, recreation potential, maybe grazing, and just any general use that you have for the land that we might want to help you with.
So how long does it take to get a management plan in place?
Oh, that kind of depends on the property, and if we got a couple foresters working on it, if it's just me, it might be a month or 2 or 3 months, depending on how busy I am. So we go out and do the site visit in a day. It takes about 3 or 4 hours. And I get back to you when I can, or if it's one of our project foresters, they usually get back a little quicker. That's not all they're doing, but they don't have as many to do either. So.
What area do you?
I cover the same region that Calvin covers, the coastal region. Every county listed today but Georgetown. And there's a different stewardship forest. I'm here in Walterville. I didn't bring any cards today. I apologize. Like I say, I'll just call up the office up there, and they'll get you in touch with me.
Call up the office up there.
Here in the Walterville Forestry Commission office. Yep.
It's in your presentation.
Okay.
And as far as you're the only stewardship forester
For this region.
for this region.
Yes, sir. There's
But
3
there
for
are
the state.
There are other foresters, state foresters that work in county forestry.
Yeah, there's usually a project forester maybe every 2 counties or so. So whatever county you're in, there's somebody more local that can meet your day-to-day needs, that takes care of signing you up for cost share and getting your prescribed burning done, and they can write your stewardship plan as well. They can cooperate with me on it.
Okay, so as long as you are in the process of getting clear title to your property, you're eligible for this management plan.
We're not terribly concerned with ownership. We want to know that the person talking to us represents the owners.
And that was actually a setup question.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you why I said that, because she owns Ayers property. So
Sure. Well, that's why we're here today, right? So I've written Ayers property stewardship plans before down in Beaufort County. I wrote one for the Penn Center, not that they're Ayers property, but that's not really a problem for us because we're not preparing you a legal document. We're preparing you a document that has a list of suggestions for how to best manage your land and to help you improve your land. So talk about things like if you're doing a wildlife food plot, maybe you want to reduce the disking that you do. Maybe you want to plant a high diversity cover crop to improve that soil. Maybe and improve the forage for the wildlife as well. Maybe we want to plant fruit trees for the wildlife instead of just having the annual wildlife food plot. In the case of timber, we look at loblolly versus longleaf, or existing trees if there's a hardwood site, and different styles of management for those different forest types. You know, we just try to look at the land as a whole and help you meet your objectives for it. Help it help you meet your objectives, really.
Let me interject some here about Vaughn's plans. The Forest Stewardship Program with us is our Cadillac plan. Okay, that's the one that's is the most comprehensive. You don't have to have a stewardship plan to manage your property. We offer rural forestry assistance, and it can be a scaled down plan because you may have only one objective, timber management. That may be it. And we can do a smaller exam, and it's the same information, but it only deals with maybe one objective, and that is your main objective or whatever.
Give me an example of what an objective would look like.
The
Tim-
objectives are
yeah,
like timber management, forest health,
wildlife.
wildlife management, for recreation,
Aesthetics.
for hunting or for viewing, aesthetics for the beauty of the forest. We might encourage you to plant colorful fall foliage trees, or you know, maybe you want to manage for diversity. Maybe you want to restore that ecology. Some people, that's their objective. So if you want to have the longleaf overstory with 30 species per square yard on the ground, that's the most diverse ecosystem on the planet, with the exception of the rainforest because of its vertical structure. That was our historic heritage here, was that highly diverse ecosystem that could be managed with grazing, could be managed with fire, or was a fire-maintained ecosystem, and can provide timber income and other sources of income.
Because the reason I wanted to make sure that folks understood, we come into different. We come through the stewardship program. We come through the cost share programs where we write pre-planning recommendations that are part of a cost share plan through our program or through NRCS or FSA if you're doing CRP.
Now, Calvin, you know that was out with this.
Man,
You know that was out with this.
Describe the alphabets.
okay. Well, I just talked about FRP. That's Forestry Renewal Program, which is the state cost share program. NRCS, they offer cost share, and then when we're called in, they may come to us. Y'all may go to them like Sam talked to, and then
I
they'll.
was asking you for the acronym.
Oh, okay.
Natural Resources Conservation Service for NRCS.
Okay, I'm sorry. And then Farm Service Agency is FSA.
Right.
And then Forest Renewal Program is our cost share program. Did I use any other one?
CRP.
CRP, Conservation Reserve Program.
So the Conservation Reserve Programs used to, or I guess it still does, pays you to not grow crops. That's one of these things that people get all excited about. Well, it's a serious program in that if you have highly erodible land, we want to keep it where it is. We wanna
But
keep the
Jack's
nutrients
gonna
in your
probably
soil
talk
where it is.
about some of
Yeah.
So
that.
planting trees in that site and then getting a rental payment for the site where those trees are is what CRP program does. It pays you every year for not growing those crops, for just leaving it in trees. And then when you do get an income from the trees, they don't pay you that year.
But I
That's
just was
how
trying to
my
summarize,
personal
so
farm
I think I
business
caused
is
more
trees.
confusion, but I'm sorry. But the other thing that I wanted to mention is that, like Vaughn said, all the services we're talking about here are serviced by the state and are paid by your taxes. Okay, the only thing though, prescribed burning and the fire breaks, that's a fee-based service that we offer, okay? And we charge the landowners for that. But I wanted to make sure everybody understood, us coming to your property and doing a forest stewardship plan or any of those other things are a part of our job. Your state dollars pays for us fighting fire on y'all's lands, and it pays for us to do management work on y'all's lands. So, now, Vaughn, you got a question?
I have a question. You said the CRP program pays you for not growing.
I'm gonna let Fred take care of that.
No, that'll be
That's
Jack.
really their program.
That'll be Jack's program.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
he'll go into that some. So hold that
I'm
question.
mentioning that because it comes up a lot in forest management, but it's not our program.
I need to move on. We need to move on and let Kip get up here because Kip, y'all probably have a lot of questions for Kip. Okay, because Kip's going to be talking about something that's probably somebody in this room's probably been affected by timber theft or timber trespass or something such as that. And
Thanks,
And
Vaughn.
we have a real good success rate on helping landowners deal with this situation up front, and we have a pretty good success rate if the process happens and y'all come to us.
I'll go ahead and give my cell phone number if any of y'all want to get a hold of me. I didn't bring cards today, but 843-209-4121.
And our office at the Forestry Commission out on Sydney's Road, y'all come see us. We're on 843-538-3708.
Say that again, yes, please.
843-538-3708. That's
What
our,
particular office is this?
that's the South Carolina Forestry Commission office.
It's our
Out
regional
on
office.
Sydney's Road.
Now, what's your name again, sir?
Vaughn.
This is Vaughn Spearman.
Vaughn Spearman.
And this is Kip Terry, so Kip, I'll turn it over to
There's a
you.
lot more details about the stewardship program in this handout here. I didn't even bother to use the slideshow, but there's 20 slides of details.
Like Calvin said, my name's Kip Terry. You know, I wear two hats. I'm the project forester for Carleton County, which means anything you need management-wise in timber in Carleton County, I'm who you talk to. I'm also the regional investigator who deal with timber theft and timber transaction crimes. Now, I talked to Sam earlier, but everyone in here, y'all, all air property owners?
Not necessarily.
Not, I mean, but some, okay, all right. Because I don't know, because there's two, that would be two completely, that's two issues there. As far as air property, I'll touch on that. If a buyer is trying to buy your timber, if you have air property and they're willing to buy your timber, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, you're getting the shaft. Okay? Because no reputable buyer is going to buy air property timber. Okay? I'm talking about reputable buyer. You may get half of what it's worth, if that. Because the reputable buyers, for instance, and I'm going to just name a few like Capstone or Elliott Sawmill or International Paper, all these big mills or any of the reputable actual dealers for these mills, if it's more than, if they can find all the heirs, if they can, say if there's 4 or 5 heirs or 6 heirs, and they can get every signature from that heir, from those heirs, then yes, they will buy it, okay? But when you got some of this heir property, it goes down 2 and 3 generations, that you got, I saw a printout one day, and it was like looking at 200 heirs on 40 acres. Okay? When you talking about, there's no way a reputable buyer can buy that. Okay? And that's just, it's sad. That's just the facts on that. Like for instance, I had a man call me yesterday. He has property in Roundover. And I looked at the tax notice on it, or the property card on it. And it goes all the way back to 1912 in an estate. And it goes from one estate to the next estate, to the next estate, to the next estate. So I have no idea how many heirs will be involved with that 52 acres. How you clear, that's clearing that up is going to be tough. But there's a couple things. If you do sell timber, if it's a one-page contract, not good. Okay? If they're trying to buy your wood in cords, that is not good. No mill today takes timber by the cord. It's all by the ton. Okay? Anytime you sell timber, it needs to be sold by the ton. What they do is they load that log truck, they roll it across the scales at the mill, they get a total weight, they unload it, drive the truck back on the scales, do a net weight, and they take a gross, minus the 2 weights, and that's the weight of the wood. Divide it by 2,000 pounds, and that's your tons. Okay? That's key. When you sell your timber. All right. Another thing, when you sell it, know what you got. Okay? Know whether you got pulpwood chipping saw, saw timber, and so forth. I talked to a landowner the other day. He was in Dorchester. No, he was in Berkeley County. And he asked him complaints. He said he thought he was short of a couple loads. He was short of 3 loads of wood, and I was able to help him get paid for those 3. Which that was a real, that was just a clerical error. There was no intent there. But to show you how much money he got off of this was a first thinning. He thinned 70 acres of planted pine. He got $66,000 on 70 acres. Now, on the first thinning. Now, granted, it was back when it was wet. Couldn't log anywhere. They give him $19.05 a ton of pulpwood. Now, granted, that's an extreme case. Now, okay, he just hit it. He hit it right. Now, I'm going to tell you, he just hit it right.
We should have got him to buy lottery tickets for us.
Yeah, but that just shows you the return you can have on timber if you manage it and sell it correctly. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that everybody's going to make that type of money. Okay. Right now, the average rate on pulpwood is probably anywhere. I haven't looked. Probably anywhere from $10 to $14 a ton. Okay. You can go on our website, the South Carolina Forest Commission website. You can find the last quarter. We break the year up into quarters. And we have average prices for each quarter. So, right now, what should be on our website should be July through September. The average price for that quarter of the year should be listed on our website. And then, yes, ma'am.
And what is your web address, you said?
Best thing to do is go to whatever your search engine is.
Just
Type in South Carolina Forestry
Type
Commission.
in South Carolina Forest Commission.
And when it comes up, it's right there on
It should be the
on
first
that
one.
webpage. That's
It should
right.
be the first.
It'll say
link.
today's timber prices or something like, or timber prices.
And in the next 2 weeks, you'll be receiving a letter talking about the agencies that we're introducing to you and who they are in the counties and their contact numbers and all that.
Okay, cool.
So it'll be in one document.
I'm just curious, how did that guy know he was shorted 2 truckloads or 3 truckloads? How would he ever do it?
Just hearing the loggers talk, well, for instance, he knew they started on like a Friday, and he never saw those tickets come back. And he sold it by the unit. There's 2 ways you can sell timber, either by the unit or lump sum.
Is there a better way?
My personal opinion, if you got hardwood, it's usually on a per unit basis. Okay? Another thing I will tell you, talk to more than one person. Competition sells your wood. Don't talk to just one. If somebody's pressuring you to sell, walk away. If he's always saying, well, I gotta have that, I gotta know that, we'll say, well, I'll see you later. The way I look at it, y'all have nurtured this timber for all these years. Y'all should get the most amount of money for it, not the man trying to buy it from you. You know what I'm saying? So that is key. Know what you got. Competition sells your wood. If you got pine, big pine, saw timber, and so forth, it can go either way. You can go lump sum or per unit. Let me tell you another thing and I don't want to get too much over your head. Sam may can explain some later. But if you're doing per unit prices, all right, and they send you in a bid sheets with the per units on there. You need to know what you got. If you got, say if it's 75 or 80% pulpwood, and you just got a little bit of saw timber, a little bit of chipping saw. Okay? You look at the bid sheets, this here, he's only giving $10 a ton on pulpwood. Well, he's giving $10 a ton on pulpwood, maybe only $20 a ton on saw timber. That's just numbers. That's not the rates, that's just the numbers. The next man giving you $9.50 a ton on pulpwood, but giving you $24 a ton on saw timber. Well, you're looking at things like, man, he's giving me so much more salt timber. Well, Mo, you ain't got no salt timber. You're selling pulpwood. You see what I'm saying? know what you got. Because if you're selling pulpwood, and you want to look at those numbers accordingly. Just because he might have $50 a ton on poles, you may not have the first pole out there.
And Kip, but tell them about, the thing y'all need to understand though is the state of South Carolina cannot cruise your timber.
Right.
We cannot do that. So for you to know what you got, you gotta hire somebody to do it, a consulting forester. And then consulting forester's gonna take anywhere from 8 to 10% of the sale.
Right.
You could probably pay fee service on that and they would cruise your timber for a fee. If your timber investment is such as that, where we can help you when it comes to timber, is if you get approached by somebody about selling their timber, call us first. We can come and look at it, and then you can tell us what they're telling you, and then we can help you sort through it to figure out whether or not this thing's a legit deal or there might be, a skunk out there. All right? And we can help y'all figure that out. And our foresters can do that, but they cannot cruise your timber and give you an estimate. I met this lady at the Trident, over there at Trident, at the meeting there, and she came and she told me how much timber's worth on this amount of acres. I can't tell you that, man. She was kind of getting upset with me, and then Jenny stepped in and we kind of talked her through, but she told me, she finally told me she had somebody knocking on her door and told me what they offered her. I said, well, ma'am, if they're offering you that, you probably got double. So, like lump sum, if you want to take it on yourself, like Kip will tell you, get 3 bids. Shop your timber. If you don't want to pay for somebody to handle your sale, then you need to shop it and get something you can evaluate based on the value that they're going to put on that timber. And then you can, go ahead, Bob, you got a point you want to make?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question. How many of y'all in here live on your land? A few of y'all? A lot of absentee landowners then. If you are an absentee landowner, it's probably better for you to try to get a consultant forester to sell your timber on a commission basis, because they're in the market every day. They know what the market is. They know they can give you an idea of what you can expect, because timber, it's real hard to call up a sawmill or a paper mill and get a price on your timber. If you're a cotton farmer or a soybean farmer, you can call up any grain bin in this area and get a price for your cotton or your corn or your soybean. And that's a price where you deliver it to them. It don't work like that with timber. In timber, the buyer buys the timber and he has to pay a logger to harvest it. And the landowner gets what's called a stumpage, and that's what's left over. And it can get complicated.
And the wood buyer gets a delivery fee.
But what you need to do really, especially if you're an absentee landowner, is hire a consulting forester. And there's been several studies done. Mississippi State, Auburn, Clemson, forestry schools have done studies, and they have shown over and over again over the last 30 years that landowners who use consultants typically average about 30 to 35% more than landowners that sell it themselves.
But I want to interject something here. Not everybody's land out there, or timberland, is enticing to a consultant. If you understand what I'm saying. Because that's why Bob is dead on accurate about having a consultant. But make sure we can look at it first to give you an idea whether the consultant would be interested. Some of your land, don't take this wrong, y'all, but some of your land conditions of your timberland may not be something that a consultant would want to handle. That may mean that you might have to do a harvest and do like Sam was talking about, start putting that land back to full production by getting the trees on it in right space and right tree in the right location.
So one of the things that, just for the program participants that we're working toward now, is talking to 2 or 3 consultants to come in with us in the program to help you, the landowner, that really comes back to us and say, we want to be involved in this process. With that, they will know going into it that you don't have the 5 and 6 loads of land, of wood to the acre, that they typically want to manage. A typical landowner's property, such as what we've been noticing, typically runs anywhere from 2 to 2.5 loads an acre. That means we really got to get it back in good production for them to see that there's income potential for them in the future. But based on what we have seen and what I've recognized, if I can get enough of you to say, here's what we want to do, then the consultant is going to be willing to buy into the whole process of working with us as a group. Another point, though, is these guys are absolutely right. I don't want anyone to walk away from here assuming that you can do this on your own. I've been in the timber business for 30 years, and I'll just upfront tell you, I have known that we have bought stolen timber, but there's no way in the world you can track it without someone following it. And there's buyers that are looking to take advantage of you every single minute, not just the day, minute. So when these guys talk to you about starting with them, if you don't do anything today but take away that one statement, you have learned a lot.
Ma'am, you had a question? Did you?
I did, but as you continue to talk.
Oh, I did, I'm sorry. Yes, sir?
I had some property, some timber already cut, had 20 acres cut already. And I was looking at the sheets, some of the sheets he didn't send back, where they did the loads, every load. Well, I got him to send me that sheet, but he has on the sheet where they weighed the timber in, and they had that, and then they wrote on the thing, no ticket. And I didn't get paid for those loads. And also, later, when they started cutting the timber, I was home every day, so I would be there when they start in the morning, and usually be there just about all day. But one day I went back about 7 o'clock, and they had one of the truck drivers loading up the truck. And they took that truck, and I looked at the sheet the next morning. I never did see any indication that that was even put, that load was even counted. I didn't bring the sheets with me, but I need to get with you and see what we can do about that.
We'll look at it and see. When was it cut?
It's about a year and a half ago.
Okay. I can usually, stuff cut recently, when I say within the last 3 years, we can probably, I'm not saying I can do it, I can get you your money back, ain't by no means. We can maybe look into it and see if we can help you out. Anything older than 3 years, see, a lot of these groups have record retention, which means they shred stuff after 3 years. So, with anything within 3 years, I'm not going to promise you anything, because I don't like to tell people I can do something if I can't. You know what I'm saying? But I can try to help. If you sell wood by the unit, by the load, you should have, you're going to get a scale, you're going to get a ticket for every load that comes off your property. Okay? You should get a hard ticket. A lot of times they might give you the original, they may copy 3 or 4 tickets on a sheet of paper, but that suffices the law, okay? There's a law that we use, it's called the 45-day payment law. If you have not been paid in full within 45 days, we can send the buyer a letter. He's got 10 days to respond. If he doesn't respond within 10 days, I can get a warrant and have him arrested. Okay? It's in 45 days of the last log truck leaving that property. It's tailored after the bad check law. Okay? Another one we have is we have the regular fraud laws, but we have a cut and remove and forest products without permission, which is 1611-580. That even pertains to pine straw. I deal with pine straw theft. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I've seen some contracts on pine straw that over the life of that tree, that pine straw is worth more than the tree. Okay? Over the life of that tree. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if you do longleaf pine management, it is more intensive management. I will go ahead and tell you that. It's not like loblolly, you can plant it and forget it. Okay? You got to be involved with the longleaf. It's an involved process. Always always, always, always get a copy of your contract. Do not let him leave your presence and say, I'll mail it back. If he's only got one copy of the contract that you signed, don't sign it. There should be, it should be 2 copies there, identical. You sign one to keep, he signs it, he signs one to keep, that you can't take with him. You wouldn't believe the amount of landowners that I have that, I don't have a copy of the contract, he's supposed to mail it to me, I don't have it. How you know what you're supposed to be getting? He can go and he can change the prices on it. Okay? That's some of the highlights, you know. Like I said, I'm here with Calvin all day. I don't have no business cards, but at lunchtime I'm gonna run around and get some and bring them back. You know, there are a lot of people that sell the timber on their own.
Owners, because there's no money in it. I mean, you know, they're trying to make money. But ask around. There are some consultants that might specialize in smaller properties. You may have a larger landowner neighbor that's actively managing his timber. Ask him, do you use a consultant? If he does, find out who it is, because that consultant may do a job for you because you're a next door neighbor.
You like to piggyback on your neighbor.
You know, but ask around, shop around with consultants. If, you know, it's just like if you're doing it yourself with wood buyers, you know, ask 2 or 3 people, because that consultant is wanting to have a continuing relationship with you, and so you want to, if you hire somebody, you want to be able to get along with them. And
So that kind of goes back to why we've been asking you so many questions on the applications and the surveys, is to really pick your brain about what are you having on your land, what are you doing with the land, so we can help you find the right people to do the work for you. This program is put in place for that purpose. One is to show that there is a need, but second, to be able to say, look how many need the help, and as a group, what we can do if we find the right person to do the work to help solidify all the landowners here. So this is not just an individual, so you're not doing this by yourself, okay? Now, there was a lot of information given to you just by them talking. We didn't want to take you through the slide presentation with their piece, because one, we wanted to state basically to introduce who they are, what they do, and their services. The main thing here, you've heard about cost sharing in several, 2 or 3 different ways. The state, being the commission, they do cost sharing. USDA and RCS, they do cost sharing. I'm working with a new group now called the Seaweed Cooperative Group, Conservation Cooperative. They provide in a cost share component. That's also tagged in through USDA and RCS. So don't try to remember all that. At the end of the day, when we get ready to look at your land for prescriptions, we'll be able to say, here are some organizations that we recommend that you call on to help you get the cost sharing for this particular aspect. Now we're getting ready to get into what I call the meat, because this is where the money comes from. We talk about the Farm Bill. We know that it's not approved, but when the next one is approved, that means that there's money to be allocated to landowners for doing certain activities on their land. So Jack Nevels, he's currently employed as the District Director with Farm Service Agency out of Columbia. He's been with the agency about 23 years, where he spent most of his time as the County Executive Director in the Calhoun and Richland County area, serving as a farm loan officer and a manager for Orangeburg, Lexington, and Calhoun and Richland counties. He was born and raised in Colleton County on a tobacco farm. Graduated from high school and attended and graduated from the University of South Carolina with a degree in finance. I'd like to bring up Jack Nevels.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing this morning? Like you said, I was born and raised right here in Colleton County, and actually was born in this building right here. For those of y'all who do not know, this used to be a hospital. I don't remember what room I was born in because it's been several years ago, but right here, played football across the street in that stadium over there for a few years. But it's good to be back, glad to be with you, and I was even more happy when I got here this morning and saw one of my old longtime classmates, Jenny Stevens.
She's being interviewed now.
Oh, she's being interviewed. Okay, but it was good to see her again. It's probably been 10, 12 years since I saw her last, but good to see her again. Like I said, my name is Jack Nettles. I've worked with Farm Service Agency about almost 23 years now, and have had a lot of hats in that agency with the county director in Calhoun and Richland, and farm loan officer, and then a farm loan manager, and recently this year was promoted to district director. I do cover this area, plus a whole lot more. 2 years ago, we used to have 4 district directors. Now we have 2.